Hey, this woman just got mad at me, y'all. I want y'all to tell me if I'm tripping. I need y'all to tell me if I'm tripping. I was on my Self-Crown live chat. For those who don't know, that's my private mentorship community. Woman said, hey, look, D, a loyal woman's love is this, that, and the other. And she was talking about all the good things because a woman is the prize, and if a woman loves a man, and there's so many good things. And I was like, you know what? A loyal woman's love is one thing indisputably, and that's powerful, but it's a double-edged sword. And this is what I mean by that. She was mad at me, but y'all tell me if I'm tripping. I believe a loyal woman's love can either catapult a man to levels he never knew were even possible for him, or it can be just the rope he needed to hang himself because he took it for granted. Either or, but it depends on the man. Matter of fact, put I down in the chat if you've ever given your love to a man in a time where you were totally checked in, you opened yourself fully up, you were vulnerable, and the more love you gave him, the more he took you for granted. It wasn't met with reciprocity or appreciation. The more that you did for him, the more he took it for granted until you left and he thought you would never leave. Another one, put I down in the chat. I want to see if I'm talking to anybody. Put I down in the chat. If you've ever loved a man and he didn't reciprocate until it was too late. Like by the time he finally came around, you didn't even have the bridge was burned. The connection was lost. Like you didn't have no more trust, no more respect. You couldn't even be receptive to it anymore. It didn't matter. It was almost annoying, the fact that he was showing up now. You could recognize that he was doing the right things and he had maybe even turned a new leaf. But it was too late. And again, now you checked out. And how did it make that man feel? And all of that is a byproduct of a woman's love, of a loyal woman's love. That's the power of a loyal woman's love at work. But you know, it's no fun being there. So I'm gonna tell you, there's one way to make sure you stop the pattern of being the woman that gets appreciated by being lost. But I'm gonna give y'all that at the very end. So make sure that you watch all the way through to the end because these points before that are going to follow up and make that make sense. But let's just discuss the power of a loyal woman's love. First off, the power of a loyal woman's love, it can, I will never say it can heal a man, but it can be the environment, the healing environment for a man that shows him that there are women out here who can love him and will love him beyond the surface level and will not abandon him. There are so many men that have been abandoned in childhood or whatever the case may be. And the power of a loyal woman's love came along and was proof to that man that not everybody is leaving him high and dry. Not everybody's leaving him high and dry just because, you know, things ain't right, just because his money ain't right. Not everybody's leaving him high and dry. And then you hear these stories about couples who made it through the storms. I'm not talking about storms like abuse or betrayal or anything like that. I'm talking about he ain't have no money. He went through this, that, and the other. And then you see this beautiful story and you see them raising beautiful children and you see them passing down these different lessons and they're beacon to the world of hope and all. And it all started with the power of a loyal woman's love. A lot of times you'll hear that dude talk like he was in certain patterns before he met her, but then he came across that and he experienced that woman's love and it changed everything. And it was proof to him to now go out here and advocate on behalf that this thing actually exists. Like it's not a fairy tale. This ain't just in soap operas. Power of a loyal woman's love. And that's in a good way. Because I do believe, again, it's a double-edged sword. So on the good side, another aspect of the power of a loyal woman's love is it can be the cemented foundation for a man who has the power to change the world. Y'all know, some of y'all believe in the Bible, some of y'all don't. I do. When God made Adam, he literally looked at Adam and said, not good enough. Not good enough without a woman. I'm making you in my image, but that ain't complete. It ain't complete until we get a woman. So what does that say? That by the creator, the design of a woman was to bring out the fullness of the man. We can't do this by ourselves. Not to our fullest potential. We can do pretty good. But when the right woman is in our life, it takes us to levels we could not achieve by ourselves. By ourselves, we are not, quote unquote, good enough. And I'm just talking about in terms of reaching the fullest potential that a man was, designed to be, his purpose and all that kind of stuff. It's just what it is. That's the creator said that. Not good for us to be alone. So when it comes to a loyal woman's love, it can be that foundation. A lot of times we have so much potential, but that foundation is a little bit. But with a loyal woman in your life as a man, you know, it keep you out of a lot of trouble. It help you see a lot of fake friends you never would have recognized because you out here just believing and not thinking nobody gonna do you like this, that, and the other. And a woman, y'all can spot a fake friend from a mile away. And a lot of dudes' chest will hurt if you told them exactly how you knew that friend was fake, just come from the energy that you was getting. But when you got a loyal woman in your life and then she love you, man, that's a cemented foundation to keep things stable as you go up. And again, there is another side to that, and I'm talking specific to a certain type of man. I know some of y'all saying, well, what if you don't appreciate? I'm talking to a specific type of man because we're going to get to the other ones in just a second. Another aspect of a loyal woman's love, and I would say the power of it, one example of it, is it can be the generational curse breaker of strife between parents. Kind of like what I was talking about before. But love covers a multitude of sins, right? So the woman's love in home sets the tone. And if she comes in, that man could have been through all kind of stuff in his past, grew up with all kind of stuff in his home and all of that. If he's showing up to the best of his ability and continuing to grow into a better version of himself, and he has a loyal woman involved, that loyal woman's love will complete the puzzle and they'll reset everything for their lineage for generations to come. All because a loyal woman's love came in. And so when things wasn't right, when things were stressful, that loyal woman's love set the tone and said, we're going to be all right. We're going to get through this. Meals still getting cooked. Love still being shown. Encouragement still being spoken. Prayer still being sent up. Whatever it is that they do spiritually or whatever. A loyal woman's love can be that missing piece to break generational curse. That's how powerful it is. Now, like I said, it can be the most beautiful thing or it can be the most painful thing. One of the most hardest learned lessons. And one way is if that man takes that love for granted, that woman's love, it can take his peace for the rest of his life. And it ain't the love per se that took it. Actually, it was. Because if he was with a woman that didn't love him as much as that loyal woman did, he might be able to move on scot-free and be cool and be feeling like, you know, whatever. It's like I talked about on the last video. A lot of times when you stoop down to a man's level that did you bad, he feels vindicated in the fact that he did you bad. He just, she did me wrong like I did her wrong. But when it's a loyal woman's love that he wasted, that hit different because it's so rare. And not because a loyal woman is so rare. Actually, I'm gonna be real with y'all. It's less of y'all than what you might think. Especially those of y'all who feel the capacity to be safe and vulnerable and give your best self to a man and fully check in. You already know that. A lot of y'all out there, and this men ain't gonna really like this, but a lot of women have only been able to choose one or two guys to really give their full self to. Correct me if I'm wrong. You may have come across guys, you may have liked guys, you may have been attracted to guys, had sex with guys, but it's only one or two that really was able to get your heart. And after that, you couldn't take men serious. Maybe you went through a little phase where you just wanted something emotionally distanced but physically engaged. So what I'm saying is it may be women that have the capacity to be all in, loyal, ride or whatever, but a woman just ain't choosing anybody, especially if her heart is big, because she knows she don't heal so easily. Women who don't give a dang, they heal like Wolverine. I'm doing a little side quest here to make my point that when a man loses that rarity of a loyal woman's love, oh man, he ain't gonna have peace the rest of his life. He gonna continue on searching for it. He may be able to continue being successful. He may continue looking like he's having a good time, but it eats at him. It eats at him, especially as he comes back to that space where all of those little thrills and those instant gratifications are no longer hitting the spot, and he wants somebody that feels like home, but all he got is a house. Vacation rental at that, if he can get that. And one more thing I want to say is that when it comes to a loyal woman's love, the power of it, the real power I've seen is whenever it gets taken for granted and that woman reinvests that love back into herself. And what that does for not only her life, but the man who's not going to take her for granted, it's like this. If you only cared a little bit or you played around and it didn't go well, Well, you really didn't have love to reinvest back into yourself because you really didn't give it out like that. But when you gave your all, the women that catapult to these crazy levels did so from a place a lot of times of brokenness where they were giving themselves to somebody or to something, and then they finally had to say, I choose me. I choose me. I'm giving this love to me. And in order to be with me, you got to match that or exceed that. But I'm choosing me. And the most beautiful transformations have happened from that place that created the woman of a man's dream who was waiting on that type of woman, that caliber of woman. This is why I'm always imploring upon y'all, like, man, continue doing the work. All of y'all that get overlooked and you feel like don't nobody want a real one and stuff, man, do not buy into that. There are men out here who are tired of playing the games the same way that y'all are, but you gotta stay in position for that type of man. Because unfortunately, we don't have intuition like y'all, so we don't just know where y'all at and stuff like that. We don't know all of that. And if you over a certain age, honestly, the alternative of going back out in the dating scene and playing around and wasting years and all that, that ain't for you anyway. You probably don't even have the same level of tolerance and patience. I don't know how many of y'all can relate to this, but if you were single for a long time, let's say you over the age of 35, young girls got a little bit more patience, a little bit more tolerance. Over the age of 35, you don't feel like going back out here asking what a person's favorite color is. You ain't got time for that. And honestly, you don't have to make time for that. Because if you over the age of 40, you have so much more to work with if only you know exactly how to leverage that wisdom in this season of your life. I discussed this in my video, Best Free Dating Advice for Those Over 40. You want access to that? Again, click the link down in the comments or the caption, whatever. I'll put it up one more time. Moderators, make sure it's there. I already see a pin, matter of fact. Get access to that video because you have to have a completely different approach if you're over the age of 35 or 40 and you date men who are on that level so you don't waste your time. And in fact, you got the advantage. But back to what I was saying. I was talking to the young lady and I was telling her, like, you know, when it comes to understanding the power of a loyal woman's love, if you see it one-dimensionally and you say, well, it's so good, the first thing that comes to mind is, I gotta give it. But here's the thing. Those women who just think give, 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 a lot of times y'all are empaths. Instead of thinking discern, 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 then give, those are the ones that get broken because you didn't understand the true nature of your love. And the fact that in the same way that's a double-edged sword, it's also not so black and white who you should give it to. That's also equally nuanced. So I told the sister, because she was in a place of kind of naivete, and I said, look, man, I'm not going to necessarily tell you how to like make you think any kind of way, but I offered this to you. This is what I encourage. And the same way I told her is the same way I'm going to tell y'all. If you're a loyal woman, like you're in that space where you know you can give your all to a man, or you have given your all, maybe you're giving your all to a man right now. I just say this, adopt this mentality. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, joke's on you. And the one who's not foolish enough to waste me is the one who's going to be laughing. That's the mentality of a woman who's no longer going to get taken for granted first, then appreciated on down the road when she's no longer even the version of herself that she came into the relationship as. But those are just my thoughts. I'm your internet brother, man, trying to look out. Per usual, if you got something from this, pay it forward. I don't need your money. Just pay it forward by hitting that share button. So somebody else in your timeline can also be blessed. And again, if you're over the age of 35 or you date men who are over the age of 40, you would be wise to click that link that's down in the comments. Get my best free dating advice for women over 40 right now. Link down in the caption or in the comments, description, whatever you see it. That link posted by me, click that link. Holla at y'all later. Y'all be good. Peace.